All right. I was doing a little dance right now. We will get started. This is going to be a freestyle, flow. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, specifically creative entrepreneurship. I have been on this journey for about 5 years. Dare I say I'm a creative, and yes, I do. I do really consider myself a creative, and it's really an identity. It's not like I'm not an artist. I'm not an actor, a singer. I love to dance. I love to write. And I love learning and putting different things together. And I think that's really what a creative is. It's when you take ideas from different places. You get inspired by different things, and then you make it your own. So I hope everyone can hear me okay. If anybody's on the chat right now, hello. Let me know how is my voice? Is my voice projecting enough? Can you guys hear me okay? And I'm just gonna put the volume up here. All right, cool. So we're freestyling, like I said. This is for the Creative Entrepreneur Series, Lesson 1. And it's called Perfect. You can hear me okay? Okay, great. I'm going to just jump into it. I have no idea how long I'm going to be on here. I'm just going to free flow it. So I'll go ahead and jump into the first lesson that I released last week. And if you didn't receive that and you want to know what this Creative Entrepreneur Series is all about, just go ahead and message me, and I can go ahead and put you on the email list and get those lessons out to you. But this is in addition to, because I realize when I'm writing this, like I have all these thoughts, and then I'd say, like, who knows, like 1 to 5%, right, comes on paper, right, or on the computer. So, I try to put all my great ideas and my thoughts and communicate them in this email. But, at the end of the day, it's going to be the face-to-face. It's going to be having conversations. That's how you're going to understand it. Yes, with readings, with information, but it's also about just thinking in real time, asking questions. And so this is kind of like my way of inviting you who wants to engage in creative entrepreneurship, even if you don't think you're an entrepreneur or a creative person, but you just it just feels good saying creative entrepreneurship, and you like what that means to you, because it can mean a lot of different things. So I'll just give you my definition of creative entrepreneurship to start. Creative entrepreneurship to me is someone who creates and makes a living with their creativity. So, and that can mean a lot of different things. If you make original work, right? If you make a podcast, you write a book, you start a business. Honestly, if you start a business, that takes a hell of a lot of creativity. So if you have a business, honestly, you're creative. I consider you creative. To me, business is all about creativity. So it's not all about, being a singer or being a great drawer, a great artist, being an actor. Of course, all of those professions are creative, and I do consider them creative entrepreneurship. But it's for me, creative entrepreneurship is when you create original work and you make a living doing that. Even if you're broke or you're not making a lot of money, you're still living from a place of your creativity. And to me, that is so valuable, so valuable, because when you're able to create something, you're dropping into you're dropping into you, the deepest part of you. Creativity comes from the soul, and when you're able to be free enough to create a video, to write a book, to create your own course, to be a teacher and create your own curriculum, that, to me, that comes from a deep place. And yes, you may be grabbing ideas from different places, but at the heart, original work is coming from you. It's coming from the deepest part of you. And so for me, that's just like the most freeing place to make a living. You feel free, and that is what I'm up to. That's what I'm here to talk about. And so we'll go ahead and get into what I have down. I don't really have anything super planned here, but I did want to focus on lesson 1, which is I call make like a tree. So I use the analogy Joshua Tree because my name's Joshua. Yeah, it's so obvious, and not much creativity there, but Joshua Tree. And the reason I started creating this this analogy of make like a tree is because as a creative, sometimes we can get lost in a lot of different learnings and different strategies and tactics and business models. There's just a lot out there, and especially because we have all this information available to us, our challenge is not a matter of having resources, right? It's not a matter of having information. And I believe it's more of a challenge of, it's more of a question of tapping into that resourcefulness, right? So if you have very little, right, what do you have that you could utilize? Because everyone has all this information, but we're still having issues trying to move forward, trying to apply that to our creative life or our life in general. And so make like a tree really starts, it starts at the root and it starts at the truth. And I want to start here because at your core, I think as a creative, you have to know like what is your truth. And for me, my truth, if you don't know, I created a podcast about 5 years ago, probably more like 6 years ago now that I think about it. I was working at a nonprofit, and I started doing this on the side in the evenings. And one night I just got really inspired, and I created a Facebook post. And the Facebook post was basically a commitment for me to start this podcast. And it was a podcast about love. And you might ask, why love, right? Love, my truth is that I am love, right? And this was so true for me that I was thinking that, oh my gosh, this is going to be true for everyone. And I realized on my journey that actually, no, it's not. Everyone has their own unique truth, their own truth that grounds them, And so for me, making like, in regards to make like a tree, the root of the tree is your core truth. And that can mean a lot of different things, but what is like at the heart, like what can you depend on? Like, even if you like, you know, you get into an accident, God forbid, or you go broke, or even if you like pass away, like, you know, like what is that like forever in, you know, that truth that is always going to exist? Like, what do you believe at the heart of it? And for me, that's I am love. This is where I came from. I'm a loving, connected, powerful leader. Just as Karen walks into the room. Hello, Karen. Hello, Karina. Berenice. Thank you guys for being here. I am just introducing my lesson, Make Like a Tree, for creative entrepreneurs. And this was like my first teaching. This is like the first teaching point that I wanted to make. And it's what grounded me. It's what grounded my podcast. So you don't have to adopt it, obviously. Yours is going to be whatever is your truth, what's deep inside you, what grounds you. And then the next phase, right, of a tree, or the next characteristic of a tree, is the trunk, right? And the trunk is not, it's not the root. It differentiates from the root in the sense that your trunk is what feeds you as a person, right? We're all different things feeds us. For a long time, for me, it's been impact. It's been making a difference. And when I was at Cal State Northridge, I took this world migration class, and with Professor Martha Garza. She's like a women's studies, and I was not even like into like sociology. I was kind of into psychology, but I was not into any of like the social studies. I wanted to be I was a business major. And when I decided to take this class, world migration class, it was actually because it was an elective. And taking this course, Professor, you know, some teachers, they just like expose like a whole world to us. And that's what I love about teaching. So she essentially like exposed me to like all the suffering going on in the world. And that like, boom, that like tugged at my heart. Once she started exposing like what was going on in different parts of the world, you know, I was a college student. I was like 28, 29 years old, just trying to get my degree, and taking this elective with her like completely flipped my whole worldview. And so I was thinking like, yeah, I'm an American businessman, and actually in reality, I still want to do that. But back then, that's when I actually changed my major from business to sociology, because I was like, there's more important things than making money. Like there's some really, you know, fucked up shit going on in the world. And so essentially it tugged at my heart, and impact, making a difference, became my part of my trunk, is what I call it. Part of my trunk, part of what feeds me. And so the other big part that has just been living within me and has been feeding me is creativity. And so if you're here, or if you connect with creative entrepreneurship, creativity, if you connect with that, if you identify as a creative, or you want to, that to me, that's another thing that feeds me. That is part of my trunk. So just to recap, the root, my core truth, is that deeper part of me that nobody really understands, right? Because it's only supposed to make sense to you, which is I am love. I'm a loving, connected, powerful leader. that is just an affirmation, but the main core truth, my truth, is that I come from love. Like, that's what I see all around me. And when there's darkness and fear, we'll go more into that later. But to me, it's just an illusion. Or Boomer, what's up, Boomer? Or I think some people like to speak about fear as the Matrix. You know, man, Boomer brought that up this past weekend. But the Matrix is also kind of has a theme, and it's an illusion. But I personally think it comes from fear. And anyways, so impact, creativity. I'm wondering if anybody's willing to share what are those things that feed you, or like what is, if you can, like tell me what is your core truth, your root, what are you grounded in, and then, or it could be like what feeds you, like what feeds you as a human being, like what do you need? Doesn't necessarily have to be food, but you get what I'm saying. Anybody want to put that in the chat? Feel free. If not, I will just keep moving forward here. So make like a tree. We did the root, right? What is our core truth? We started talking about the trunk, and the trunk is like what feeds you. What are those core things that feed you? For me, it's impact and creativity. And the other big one is supporting others. And this one I just realized not too long ago, probably like in the past few months, I was reminded by this. And this is part of the reason why I'm here communicating with you, teaching you, is because I want to get back into supporting others as a teacher, as a mentor. That feeds me so much. And I think it feeds all of us to a certain extent. Like we want to help each other. And in some ways, like it's hard to do that because we're like, you know, we're scrolling down content, or we're creating content to be, you know, to then publish later. So I love this idea of coming live and being with each other live too. Like I want to do a Zoom as well. And so we're going to move on to the branches, right? So I'm going to give you guys like just an image, a really quick image, so you guys kind of have like a visual of what I mean by make like a tree. I should have put this up earlier, but okay, cool. So amazing, Eric. Okay, so Eric, acts of service feed me. It's my love language. I love that. Okay, acts of service. That's really cool, man. See, and I think that's really important. Acts of service, that's actually not my love language. But thank you, Eric, for putting that in the chat. Acts of service, it's my dad's language. Now I know it's your language. And that's what feeds you. If anybody else wants to share what feeds them, it could be anything that you do, anything that feeds you. Like you just feel like, oh, you have to do this, or, you know, like sometimes it's unconscious. That's how we know that it's like, okay, this is something that feeds us. So if you see on the image here, roots, it's your truth. What is your truth? The trunk is like the core activities that feed you. Now we're going to move on to the big branches, right? I kind of broke it down. This is not like, obviously this is something that I created. So just use it, make it your own, change it if you like. But for me, big branches and small branches, I view these as like our primary job, like what we're doing for work. Or maybe main projects, right? It could be a business or a service or product that's our core offering. This has nothing to do with who we are. And So if you're at work right now and you're feeling like, oh, I've been there like 5 years ago, like, you know, when you're like at work and you may have, you know, did a lot, you went to school, you worked hard to get to where you're at, right? But then over the years, you just, you know, somehow you just found yourself like unhappy or, you know, a bit jaded. And I totally been there. You know, first of all, you know, like I understand wholeheartedly. And it's just a branch. It's only a branch. You know, it could be even a small branch. Maybe it's a big branch, but regardless, it doesn't make you. You know, it doesn't make the tree. The branches don't make the tree. It's the trunk. It's the root, right? And so that's kind of how I perceive work, because we're always, you know, we change our jobs like every few years, and if you don't, okay, but you're not going to be in the same position. You're not going to be doing the same job. So to me, don't identify yourself with where you work. Because if I did that, oh my gosh, I had so many crazy jobs so far, especially in the past 5 years, after college, after my nonprofit career. But anyways, so the big branches and the small branches are those things that could be something that inspires us, right? A project, or, you know, or a mission, right? A nonprofit, a mission, or a project within a mission, a project within something that you want to do. It's going to take a lot of time and energy, and you just like, boom, you go and you attack that. So to me, those are big branches and those are small branches. They're not here forever. They could be here for a long time. Some of them get bigger, some of them break off and fall. And it's okay. Like, it's okay. Sometimes we get too attached to our branches. Sometimes we get too attached to like, you know, going to work, doing the same job. And we think like we're going to be there forever. And it's not the case. It's not the case. You weren't born there, right? That's not where you were born. So anyways, does anybody have any branches that they want to share, something that they're excited about? Maybe you want to be vulnerable and share a branch that you might not want to do anymore, right? Because this is, being a creative entrepreneurship is also about just being truthful to yourself. What do you want to eventually let go? And what do you want to grow? You know, what kind of new branch do you want to grow? So for me, you know, I was screwing around with e-commerce and Amazon, and I mean, those are like it's like a huge industry. E-commerce, I think it works. I think it's only going to get even larger, right? We're just barely tapping on online stores and online commerce. So I'm letting that go, and I'm stepping more into supporting others because that's what feeds me, but in a way of creative entrepreneurship. So this creative entrepreneurship is what I'm growing as a branch, if you will, right? And it's going to involve some other things, and I'll talk about that too, because what about all the other passions, and what about all of your other interests and explorations? If you're like me, I have a ton. I want to travel. I want to learn about blockchain. I want to create NFTs. I want to, what else? I want to learn how to play the guitar. Man, this past weekend I was dancing. I realized, like, holy crap, like, I love freaking dancing. Boomer, I don't know if you're still in there, but Boomer, I was dancing. Boomer loves to dance as well, and then singing. I don't know if I love to listen, like I'm a music appreciation, but there are just so many things. There's an infinite world, and it's like this whole make like a tree. This is just my way of communicating that it's just a way of putting things in perspective as a creative. And sometimes, like, personally, I struggle sometimes with, and I'll just say recently I struggled, and I learned from just putting all my time and energy into a shiny thing. It was like the next shiny thing that was like on my mind. And what happens is, like, if we're just putting all our time and energy in these smaller branches or these leaves and fruits, which I believe are creative assets. It's like a proof of work. Leaves are like those things that we're doing all the time, and we grow these things. So that could be as simple as like doing this live stream, right? It didn't just come out of nowhere. It came from like a lot of work, a lot of internal work, but also a lot of like just communication work. And then like I had to figure out how to do this. I still don't know how to do this. I don't even know how long this live Instagram will last. However, do you guys have any questions? This is what the first lesson's all about. It's just simply putting things in perspective, putting your creative life into perspective. And I think this is a great place to start a creative entrepreneur series and just have a conversation about. So let me know what you guys think, if you have any questions about it. And I'm going to stop sharing this image, come back to you guys. Perfect. All right, yeah, let me know what you guys think about that tree analogy. Honestly, I'm just playing with it, but I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was so cool to put things in perspective as we create and, sometimes make huge commitments, right? Time and energy and money we put forth, and I think it's important to put everything in perspective. And some of those, the visual helps. Okay, perfect. I'm glad, man. I am glad. So we've been going on for 30 minutes. I do have another lesson. I have lesson 2, but I'm gonna save that for another time. I'm gonna see how this lands for you guys, and feel free to DM me. Feel free to message me if you want that first lesson. I can send that to you. It's just one page. It's one email, and it goes more into make like a tree. I can also send you the image also, and yeah. So before you guys go, I wanted to put this in the video because I know, like, one of the biggest things that stopped me from creating, or it didn't stop me because I'm creating, but one of the things that kind of slowed me down is fear. And the crazy thing is like in the beginning of this video, I told you that my core truth was love, right? Like, I am rooted in love, and I know that to be true for me. So why would fear slow me down, right? And the truth is that we are afraid, And this fear lives in everyone. Sometimes you can avoid it. Sometimes you can just put it away. But at the end of the day, you can't run from fear. You're going to have to face it. And so I want to end this really quickly with a poem by Marianne Williamson. And it goes like this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not? Who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us. It's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear and presence, our presence automatically liberates others. That was a poem by Marianne Williamson. Thank you guys for coming by. And look forward to hearing from you guys. Ciao. As soon as I figure out how to turn this off.